Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. If you're someone who wants to speak English with more confidence, if you want to sound polite, natural, and respectful in any situation, and if you're tired of just knowing grammar rules but still feeling stuck when it's time to talk, this episode is for you. Today, we're going on a powerful journey through real English communication. Not textbook English, not robotic phrases, but real expressions, the kind that make people want to talk to you again. In this one episode, you'll learn how to start conversations politely, ask questions the natural way, and respond with the confidence of a native speaker. You'll hear simple scenes, everyday examples, where these phrases show up naturally at work, in cafes, with friends, in class, or even with strangers on the street. By the end, you'll have 50 essential phrases in your pocket, and more importantly, the confidence to use them. So find a quiet space or press play while you cook, walk, ride, or rest. Let this episode not just teach you English, let it change the way you feel when you speak. Let's begin. I still remember a moment from my early English days. I wanted to ask a stranger for directions. I stood there, words stuck in my throat. I knew how to say, "Where is," but it felt too cold to direct. I was afraid of sounding rude, afraid of making the other person uncomfortable. And in that moment, I realized it wasn't just about the words. It was about how you say them with politeness, with warmth, with connection. That's what this episode is about. Let's start with some of the most powerful, polite phrases you can use no matter where you are, no matter who you're talking to, and don't just repeat them. Feel them. Imagine using them in real life, because the more you feel them now, the more natural they'll become later. Here we go. Imagine you're at a coffee shop and someone's blocking the sugar stand. You could say, "Move, please." But that would sound a bit harsh, wouldn't it? Instead, try, would you mind if I just grab the sugar? Soft, respectful, easy to say. Now picture another scene. You're late to a meeting. You walk in. Everyone's already seated. Instead of just saying sorry, you could say, "I apologize for being late. Thank you for waiting." It shows responsibility and appreciation in one short sentence. That's the power of polite English. It's not about being fancy. It's about making people feel comfortable with you. And that's what makes a great communicator. There's something powerful about how a conversation begins. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need a long sentence. You just need the right words, said with the right feeling. Sometimes a simple phrase can open doors to connection, to kindness, to trust. Let's walk through some of the most useful expressions for starting a conversation gently, confidently, and naturally. You see someone at work first thing in the morning, you could just nod, but instead you smile and say, "Good morning. How was your evening?" It's not just a greeting, it's a little act of care. Or maybe you're in a new place and someone approaches you, they smile and say, "Hi." I don't think we've met yet. I'm James. You reply, nice to meet you, James. I'm Maya. That short exchange already sets a warm tone. No pressure, no stress, just kindness. Now imagine you're seeing someone again after a while. You say, hey, it's been a while? How have you been? And they reply, pretty good, thanks. And these simple, everyday words build bridges. They help people feel seen and respected. Now let's try a mini story. You walk into your first English class. You don't know anyone. You feel nervous. You sit down next to someone and they glance over. You take a breath and say, hi, is this your first class too? They smile. Yeah, I'm a bit nervous, actually. You laugh a little and say, same here. Hopefully, we'll survive together. Just like that. The ice is broken. Let's slow down and feel the power of those simple words again. Hi, is this your first class too? Friendly, curious, kind. In English. You don't always need to impress people. You just need to reach them. A small question, a soft tone, a gentle start. And from there, the conversation flows. Here are a few more real-life openers that work in almost any situation. You meet someone in a waiting room. You say, hi there. Are you here for the 10 o'clock appointment too? You're joining a new team at work. You say, hi, I'm new here. Mind if I sit in? You re at a cafe and someone's next in line. You say, this place always gets busy around this time, doesn't it? All of these are simple, but they're powerful because they open the door to interaction, politely and naturally. Let's look at some soft response phrases that help you keep the conversation going. Someone says, hi, I'm Ben. You reply, nice to meet you, Ben. I'm Claire. They ask, so, what do? You smile and say, I work in design, mostly websites. What about you? Polite, natural, and it makes the other person feel welcome. If you're not sure what to say, here's a secret. You can always begin with a compliment or a soft observation. Try these. That's a great bag. Where did you get it? Or, I like your accent. Where are you from? Kindness is universal. And in English, a little warmth goes a long way. Now let's imagine another moment. You see someone standing alone at a social event. They look a little unsure. You walk over and say, hi, I don't think we've met yet. I'm Liam. They smile, surprised. Oh, hey, I'm Sarah. Thanks. I didn't know many people here. And you reply, me neither, honestly. Want to grab a drink together. That's how strangers become friends, one gentle phrase at a time. It's not about big grammar. It's not about being perfect. It's about sounding like someone worth talking to. Now, practice with me. Say this out loud. Hi there. How's your day going so far? Now, try this. Good to see you again. How have you been? And now one more. Hey, I'm new here. Just trying to meet a few people. The more you say them, the more they feel like your own. So speak them slowly. Speak them kindly. Let them become a part of your real voice. That's how we begin building your confidence, by speaking with heart. Let's keep going. In the next section, you'll learn how to ask questions in English, not just to get information, but to connect with others. Because a great question isn't just about the words, it's about the feeling behind them. And that's where we're heading next. A question is more than just a sentence. It's a small invitation. It says, I'm curious about you. I want to know more. I care. And in English, the way you ask makes all the difference. Let's take a basic question like, where are you going? It's simple, but in the wrong tone, it might sound a little strong, even rude. But now listen to this. Hey, just wondering, where are you headed? Or are you on your way somewhere special? Same idea? Different feeling. Soft. Polite? Friendly? Let's try another. You want to ask someone about their weekend plans. Instead of saying, what will you do this weekend? You can say, got anything fun planned this weekend? Or do you have any plans for the weekend? It's gentle, easy, real. Now picture this. You're meeting someone at a cafe. They sit down, you both smile. You say, so, how's your week been going? It's one of those simple questions that shows interest without pressure. They say, busy, but good, yours. You reply, same here. Looking forward to a break. And from that small start, a real conversation begins. Now let's try a few other everyday questions. The kind that make you sound more natural. You meet someone for the first time. Try? What do you do for work? Or are you from around here? If you're unsure, you can soften it with, mind if I ask, what brought you here today? Or can I ask what line of work you're in? The words mind if I ask and can I ask are polite little shields. They let your question feel safe, friendly, respectful. Let's pause and say one together. Mind if I ask how you got into that field? Say it slowly. Feel how gentle it sounds. That's the beauty of kindness in questions. Now, think about this moment. You're at work. You need to ask your colleague for help. You don't say, give me the file. You say, could you help me find that file from last week? Or would you mind sending that report when you get a chance? Even at work, small courtesies make you sound professional and kind. Let's practice another small scene. You're on the phone with customer support. You could say, my internet isn't working. But instead, try. I'm having some trouble with my connection. Could you help me check it? This small change shows politeness and earns respect. Let's go deeper. Here's a moment in class. You're confused, but you don't want to sound unprepared. Instead of saying, I don't understand, try. Could you explain that one more time? Or, I'm not quite sure I followed. Would you mind repeating it? These little phrases soften the moment. They give you confidence without fear. Now imagine a conversation with someone you admire. You want to ask about their experience? Instead of asking, how did you become successful? Try. Would you be open to sharing how you got started? Or, I've always been curious, what helped you grow in your career? When you ask gently, people open up. That they feel seen, heard, respected. Now here's a phrase that works in almost any situation. Do you mind if I ask It works with strangers, teachers, friends, managers. Try saying, "Do you mind if I ask how long you've lived here?" Or, "Do you mind if I ask where you studied English?" When you use this phrase, it creates a pause, a moment of care. Now, let's turn to asking for permission. You're in a public place and you want to sit. Instead of saying, "Is this seat taken?" try, "Would it be all right if I sit here?" Or, "Mind if I join you?" It sounds softer, more human. If someone's using something and you need it, you can ask, "Would it be okay if I use this for a moment?" Or, "Could I borrow this just for a second?" These phrases help you stay polite, even when you're in a rush. Now, let's look at a helpful practice story. You're walking through a bookstore and see someone reading a book you love. You smile and say, "Excuse me, I've read that one. It's really good. What do you think of it so far?" They laugh and say, "I'm only 2 chapters in, but I like it." You reply, "Mind if I ask what drew you to it?" That question, "Mind if I ask," gives your curiosity permission, and it builds connection. Let's slow it down now and try a few more soft, natural questions together. Repito after me. What brings you here today? How do you usually spend your weekends? Have you always lived in this city? Could I ask what inspired you to do that? Do you mind if I ask how you're feeling? Every single one of these questions is a door into deeper, more real communication. And if you open that door with kindness, people will walk through it. They'll answer, they'll talk, they'll share, and you'll grow not just as an English speaker, but as a communicator, a connector. So now you know how to start soft, how to ask clearly, how to speak with warmth. In the next section, we'll look at how to respond like a native with short, powerful phrases that show understanding, agreement, honesty, and care. Because conversations are not one way. They're a dance, a give and take, and your responses shape the rhythm. Let's get ready for that next step. A great response doesn't need big words. It needs presence. It needs feeling. It needs truth shared. Simply, kindly, and naturally, in real conversations. It's not just what you say. It's how you respond. Let's begin with a soft moment. Someone says, "I had a rough day today." You don't need a long speech. You can simply say, "I'm sorry to hear that," or "That sounds tough. Want to talk about it." These are the kinds of responses that make people feel safe with you. Not because you fixed the problem, but because you cared. Now imagine someone tells you, "I finally passed my exam." A dry okay would kill the moment, but these would build it. "Wow, that's amazing. You must feel so relieved." Or, "Congratulations! I know how hard you worked for that." You don't need fancy grammar. You just need to meet the emotion with kindness. Now, let's look at short, powerful responses that show you're listening. When someone explains something to you, you can say, "I see," or "Got it," or "That makes sense." Each of these shows respect. You're not just nodding, you're with them. If you completely agree with someone, try, "Exactly," or "You're right," or "Couldn't agree more." These phrases sound real, confident, comfortable. Now imagine a moment like this. You're at a group meeting. Someone says, "We should push the deadline." You think it's a good idea? You say, "That sounds reasonable. I agree." But what if you don't agree? You don't need to argue. You can say, "I see your point, but I have a slightly different take," or "That's a fair thought, but I wonder if there's another way." This is how native speakers express disagreement, not by pushing back, but by joining the moment softly. Let's try this real-life moment. You're walking with a friend, and they ask, "Do you want to grab pizza or sushi?" You think for a second and reply, "I'm more in the mood for sushi today, if that's okay." It's clear, it's polite, it's honest. Now, let's try more examples of real conversation responses. Someone says, "I'm thinking of switching jobs." You might say, "That's a big step. How are you feeling about it?" They reply, "A bit nervous, but ready." You smile and say, "Sounds like it's the right time. I'm excited for you. Let's break this down." You're not just answering. You're joining their journey. You're giving words that feel like support, not judgment. Now here's another common moment. Someone asks you, "How was your weekend?" You could say, "It was fine," but that ends the talk. Instead, try, "Actually, it was nice. I had some quiet time, just what I needed," or "It was good, thanks. Got to catch up on sleep and watch a movie." By giving a little detail, you invite connection. You give the other person something to respond to. Let's look at gentle ways to respond when you're unsure or not ready to answer. If someone asks you a hard question and you need a moment, try, "That's a good question. Let me think for a second," or "I'm not quite sure, but I'll try to explain." These phrases give you breathing room. You stay in control while staying kind. Now, let's practice a short scene. You're chatting with a new coworker during a break. They say, "This place is really fast-paced." You reply, "It definitely is. Took me a week to catch my breath." They laugh and say, "Yeah, I wasn't expecting it." You nod and say, "It gets better though. The team's really supportive. Look at what just happened." You didn't say anything complicated, but your words kept the conversation flowing naturally, like a stream. Here are some more natural replies you can use in daily life. Someone says, "Thanks for your help." You reply, "Of course," or "Anytime, happy to help," or "No problem at all." Each one sounds real. Native, warm. Someone says, "I didn't sleep well last night." You say, "Oh no, hope you get some rest tonight." Or they say, "I'm trying something new, starting yoga." You say, "That's awesome. How's it going so far?" These responses are short, but they carry so much feeling. Let's pause and practice a few more together. Repeat them slowly with me. "That makes sense. I totally get what you're saying. I can see how that would feel. Thanks. I really appreciate it." "No worries. We all make mistakes. Actually, I have a different view, if that's okay." Do you feel the rhythm? Soft, real, human? These aren't textbook responses. These are life responses. Now imagine someone's opening up about something hard. They say, "I've been feeling overwhelmed lately." You don't need to solve it. You can say, "I'm really sorry you're feeling that way. I'm here. If you need someone to talk to, That one line can change how someone feels. That's what English is really about. Not just speaking, but connecting. Dot. So the next time someone shares a story, an idea, or a feeling, don't worry about sounding perfect. Just focus on sounding present. Dot. Your voice, your rhythm, your feeling. That's what makes a response meaningful. Dot. In the next section, we'll learn how to keep the conversation going using small transition phrases, follow-up expressions, and ways to stay engaged without feeling awkward. Because starting a conversation is great, but knowing how to continue it, that's where confidence grows. Let's keep going. Starting a conversation is a skill. Responding with kindness is another. But keeping it going, that's what makes it feel real. Dot. And you don't need to be a fast thinker or a comedian. You just need a few phrases that give space to listen, to ask, to grow. Let's say you're talking to someone and they've just shared something interesting. They say, I just came back from a trip to Korea. Now, here's a trick. Instead of moving to a new topic, stay in that moment. Say, oh, really? That sounds amazing. What did you enjoy most about it? That phrase, what did you enjoy most, is powerful. It invites emotion. It keeps the story going. Now imagine they say, I loved the food and the street markets. You smile and respond, I've always wanted to try real Korean food. Was it spicy? You're not changing the subject. You're going deeper into their story and they'll feel heard. That's what keeps the flow alive. Now here's a helpful expression that reminds me. It lets you shift topics naturally without sounding random. Let's try this. Your friend says, I was up all night finishing a report. You say, that reminds me, I have a project due this week too. I should probably get started. You've changed the subject slightly, but the flow stays connected. Another way to stay in the moment is by showing you're listening with small, soft phrases. Try.
Wow, really?
Or no way. What happened next? Or I can totally see that. These tiny responses act like bridges. They keep the other person talking and they make you sound engaged. Now, picture this moment. You're sitting with a colleague over lunch. They say, I'm thinking of moving to a new city. Instead of just saying, cool, you say, oh, wow, big decision. What's drawing you there? That one question shows interest without pressure. Let's pause for a second and say some of these together. Repeat with me. No way, how did that happen? Really? Tell me more about that. I hear you. That must have been tough. That's awesome. How did it go? These small reactions are like saying, I'm still with you. I care. Keep going. Now, here's a situation. You're in a quiet group. No one's saying much. You can gently reopen the talk by saying, by the way, did anyone see the news today? Or speaking of travel, has anyone here ever been to Japan? By the way, and speaking of our soft conversation openers, they invite others to join without pressure. Now let's try a short dialogue. You and your classmate are walking out after class. They say, I didn't really get what the teacher was saying at the end. You say, yeah, me neither. That part was a bit confusing. They nod. Think we'll have homework on it? You reply, maybe. Speaking of that, have you started the assignment from last week yet? Look at the flow. One thought leads into the next, gently, naturally. Let's try another real-life practice scene. You're chatting with a new friend at a party. They say, I just started a new job last month. You smile and say, oh, congrats. What kind of work do you do? They respond, marketing, mostly content and ads. You reply, interesting. I've always wondered what goes into that. What's your favorite part of the job? You didn't just say, you opened the door for more. And that's how friendships begin, one layer at a time. Let's practice a few more phrases together. Say these out loud with me. Tell me more about that. How did that make you feel? I've never thought of it that way. Interesting. What happened next? I'd love to hear more. These are not just phrases, they're invitations. They help people feel safe continuing the conversation. Now, what if someone shares something surprising? Try, really? That's unexpected. What happened after that? Or, wow, I didn't see that coming. How did you react? These responses show you're not just hearing the words, you're inside the story with them. Let's try a few gentle ways to shift the topic. Anyway, on a different note, changing the subject for a second. By the way, I meant to ask you, each of these creates space. They let you move the conversation without breaking the connection. Let's go into a small story now. You're sitting with a coworker after a long meeting. They sigh and say, that was a long session. You nod and reply, it really was. By the way, have you had lunch yet? Simple, seamless, smooth. This is how real conversations move. Not by switching topics too fast, not by going silent, but by following the rhythm like a dance. Now here's one last skill for this section. Learn how to pause without losing presence. Sometimes the best way to keep the conversation going is to slow it down. Try this. That's a great question. Let me think for a second. Or, I need a moment to process that. Can I come back to you in a bit? These phrases give you time and still show that you care. In English, fluency isn't about speed. It's about flow. And when you know how to stay in the moment, you become the kind of speaker people want to talk to again. So now you've learned how to keep things going through kindness, through curiosity, through small phrases that say, I'm here. I'm listening. Let's keep talking. Every conversation has an ending. Some end with silence. Some end too fast. Some end awkwardly, leaving you wondering if you said the wrong thing. But it doesn't have to be that way. Just like a warm hello. A kind goodbye can leave a beautiful feeling behind. Whether it's a chat with a friend, a quick talk with a stranger, or a meeting at work, how you end it matters. Let's begin with the simplest endings, ones that sound casual and natural. You're finishing a conversation with a classmate. You say, anyway, I should get going. It was great chatting with you. Or, all right, I'll let you get back to it. Talk soon. These short phrases say, I enjoyed this, but now it's time to go. No awkwardness, no confusion. Now, imagine this. You're talking with someone at a party. The conversation has slowed down. You smile and say, well, I'm gonna grab a drink, but it was really nice meeting you. They smile back. You too. Hope we talk again. Look at that. soft, respectful, friendly. Now, let's try a few slightly more formal phrases, useful at work or with people you don't know well. You might say, I've enjoyed our conversation. Thank you for your time. Or I'll let you go now. But this was really helpful. These phrases show you're being polite and professional without sounding cold. Now, picture this. You're on a video call with a colleague from another city. You've just wrapped up your discussion. You smile and say, all right, I think we've covered everything. Thanks again for your insights. I really appreciate it. They nod. Same here. Let's catch up again next week. Simple, clean, courteous. Here are a few more phrases you can use in daily life. Thanks for the chat. I'll talk to you later. Let's stay in touch. Catch you later. Take care. Have a good one. Each one is easy to say. Each one ends the moment with lightness. Now let's look at gentle ways to close a deeper or more emotional conversation. Maybe your friend has just opened up about something personal. After talking for a while, you want to leave gently. You say, I'm really glad you shared that with me. If you ever want to talk again, I'm here. Or, thanks for being open with me. I'll be thinking of you. You're not just ending the conversation, you're leaving support behind. That's powerful. Now, what about text conversations? Even in writing, you can close a chat with kindness. Try, thanks for the message. I'll get back to you soon. Or let's pick this up tomorrow. Sleep well. Short, friendly, honest. Now, here's something most people forget. The value of expressing appreciation before you go, right before the ending. You can say, this was really nice. I'm glad we got to talk. Or, thanks for making time. It meant a lot. Even one sentence of gratitude can turn an ordinary goodbye into a memorable one. Let's try a short scene. You're sitting with a new friend in the park. You've been talking for an hour. You check the time and say, should get going. I've got an appointment soon. They nod. You add, honestly, this was such a great chat. I really enjoyed hearing your story. They smile. Me too. Let's do it again sometime. And just like that, the connection stays open. Now let's practice a few parting phrases together. Repeat them with me. I'll let you get back to it. Hope the rest of your day goes well. Talk again soon. Take care. And thanks again. These are small phrases, but they carry big heart. Because in English, the way you leave the moment can decide how people remember you. Let's try one more scene, this time in a workplace setting. You've just finished helping a colleague. They say, thanks so much. That really cleared things up. You reply, I'm glad I could help. If you need anything else, just let me know. Then you add, all right, I've got to jump on another call. Catch you later. Professional, kind, clear. That's what a strong English speaker sounds like. Not rushed, not robotic, but calm, human, thoughtful. And that's who you're becoming. So here's your reminder. Saying goodbye is not the end. It's your last chance to leave someone with a good feeling, a kind word, a warm tone, a soft ending. So speak it gently. And let your goodbye be your gift. There's something powerful about how a conversation begins. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need long, fancy sentences. You just need the right words said with the right hard dot. Sometimes one simple phrase can open the door to connection. It says, I see you, I'm friendly, I want to talk. Let's start small. Imagine you see someone at work first thing in the morning. You look up, smile, and say, good morning. How was your evening? You don't need to say more than that. You've already set the tone. Warm.com/polite. Repeat after me. Good morning. How was your evening? Say it slowly. Now again, this time, smile as you speak. That smile, you can hear it in your voice. Tone tip, when native speakers say good morning, it's not rushed. It's light, friendly, like sunshine in your voice. Now, imagine this. You're new somewhere. Maybe it's a class or a group meet. You don't know anyone yet. You glance over at someone and say, hi, is this your first class too? You're not just talking, you're inviting. Say it with me. Hi, is this your first class too? Now again, this time, like you're a little nervous, but still brave, because that's what starting a conversation really is. Courage in small doses. Here's another everyday phrase. Nice to meet you. Simple, but it holds weight. It says, I'm glad we're meeting. You matter to me. Practice it now. Nice to meet you. Now again, this time, a little slower with warmth. Tone tip. When native speakers say, nice to meet you, they don't stress every word. They usually stretch the word nice just a little. Like this. Need to meet. Not dramatic, just natural, calm. Now let's build a scene. You're introduced to someone at a conference. They say, hi, I'm Leo. You reply, nice to meet you, Leo. I'm Anya. That's it. You've begun. A relationship can grow from that moment. Let's add another phrase for when you see someone again. Nice to see you again. Or even more casually. Hey, good to see you. Try this now. Nice to see you again. Say it one more time, like you mean it. Tone tip. Nice to see you again often carries warmth in the eyes. Even if you're nervous, let your tone rise slightly at the end, like you're glad the moment is happening. Now let's take a breath. Mindset boost. If you've made it this far, I want to remind you of something. You don't have to speak like a native. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to care. If you speak with kindness, people will listen. And every time you practice one phrase, you're becoming more confident. Not louder, not faster, just clearer, braver, softer in the best way. Now let's try some soft, natural responses to greetings. They say, hi, how are you? You say, I'm doing well, thanks. How about you? Repeat it slowly. I'm doing well, thanks. How about you? Or you can say, not too bad. How about yourself? Try it now. Not too bad. How about yourself? These are smooth, everyday responses. No pressure, no drama, just human talk. Now let's create a quick, real moment. You see a friend after a long week. You say, hey, how have you been? They reply, busy, but good. You smile and say, same here. It's good to see you. It's not about long speeches. It's about showing up with simple kindness, reflection, question. Think about the last time you met someone new. What did you say if you could go back and try again? Which phrase from today would you use? Now, here's one final phrase for this section. You meet someone older or in a formal situation. Instead of just hi, try. It's a pleasure to meet you. Say it with me. It's a pleasure to meet you. Tone tip. This phrase sounds best with a soft smile and slightly slower pace. It's more formal than nice to meet you, but still warm, never stiff. That's the key to polite English. It's not about big words. It's about how gently you use the small ones. So let's close this section with a mini scene. Arrive at a new job. You see someone sitting at their desk. You walk up, take a breath, and say, "Hi, I'm new here. Mind if I sit with you?" They look up, smile, and say, "Not at all. I'm Jack." You reply, "Nice to meet you. Jack? I'm Lily." In 20 seconds, you've made someone feel welcome, and you've shown yourself that you're brave. That's the kind of English that makes people remember you. So take your time. Practice these phrases slowly. Let them become your voice, not someone else's. Because your English isn't just about communication, it's about connection. And that's what you're building every single time you speak. A good question can do more than get an answer. It can open someone's heart. It can build trust. It can make a stranger feel like a friend. But sometimes asking in English feels scary. What if I sound too direct, too simple, too slow? Here's the truth. You don't need perfect grammar. You just need courage and a soft touch. Let's begin with a gentle way to ask someone about their day. Instead of saying, "What did you do today?" Try this. "How's your day going so far?" Repeat after me. "How's your day going so far?" Now say it again like you truly care. Tone tip. Let the word "so far" drop gently. Not fast, not heavy, just soft, like you're letting them take their time to reply. Now, imagine this scene. You see a coworker walking back from lunch. You say, "Hey, how's your day going so far?" They reply, "Pretty good, just had a walk." You say, "Nice. I've been glued to my desk all morning." You didn't ask anything deep, but you opened space for connection. Now let's go deeper. You're with someone new, and you want to ask about their life politely. Try this. Mind if I ask what you do for work? Say with me, "Mind if I ask what you do for work?" Now, again, this time, soften your tone just before the word ask. It makes the question feel respectful, never nosy. Tone tip. Mind if I ask is like a gentle knock on the door. You're saying, "I want to know, but only if it's okay." Let's add another option. "What do you do for a living?" Repeat it slowly. What do you do for a living? This is polite and very common in friendly small talk. Now let's build a real moment. You're at a wedding, seated next to someone you don't know. You smile and say, "Hi, I'm Leo. Mind if I ask what brought you here today?" They reply, "Oh, I'm the bride's cousin." You laugh and say, "Ah, that's awesome." So, your family, look what happened. One kind question started a real conversation. Let's try another one. You're at a cafe. The barista is cheerful. You want to make a little friendly chat? Try. This place always has great energy. Have you worked here long? Repeat after me. Have you worked here long? Now, again, add a little upward tone at the end. It sounds curious, not demanding. Tone tip: when native speakers ask friendly questions, their voice often rises a little at the end, like a soft lift, as if they're offering you a chance to speak. Now let's look at how to ask for information. You're in a new city. You want directions? Instead of saying, "Where is the bus station?" Try, "Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the bus station?" Practice it now. Excuse me. Could you tell me how to get to the bus station? This version feels more polite and more natural. Here's another soft and respectful option. Would you happen to know where the nearest ATM is? Repeat. Would you happen to know where the nearest ATM is? Tone tip: would you happen to know is very gentle. It's almost like saying, if you don't mind helping. Mindset boosts. Right now, maybe you're thinking, but what if I forget the question mid-sentence? What if I sound weird or unnatural? Let me tell you something. You're not supposed to sound perfect. You're supposed to sound real, curious, kind, honest. Even if you pause, even if you fumble a word, when your question comes from kindness, people will feel it. And that matters more than perfect English. Now let's look at everyday permission requests. You're in a classroom and you forgot your pen. You want to ask politely. Say, "Would you mind if I borrowed a pen for a moment?" Say with me, "Would you mind if I borrowed a pen for a moment?" Now again, gently, like a quiet tap on the shoulder. Here's a shorter version. Mind if I borrow your pen? Repeat. Mind if I borrow your pen? Same meaning, just more casual tone tip. When native speakers say, "Would you mind if I," they almost whisper the middle. The strength is not in the volume, it's in the softness. Let's build a story now. You're in a library. Someone is sitting at a large table. You walk up and ask, "Excuse me, would it be all right if I sit here?" They smile and say, "Sure, go ahead." You reply, "Thanks a lot." One question, one connection, no fear. Let's look at a few more questions that help continue conversations naturally. What brought you here today? How did you get into that field? Have you always lived around here? What kind of things do you enjoy doing outside of work? Repeat these slowly with me. What brought you here today? How did you get into that field? Have you always lived around here? What kind of things do you enjoy doing outside of work? Each one is soft. Each one opens the door to something real. Now let's pause for a moment of reflection. Reflection question. When was the last time you wanted to ask someone something but stayed silent? Why did you hold back? What phrase from today could help you ask it now with more confidence? Remember, asking doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. It's okay to be curious. It's okay to ask gently. It's okay to not know something and ask. Anyway, let's wrap this section with a final story. You're at a company event, standing with someone you don't know. you take a breath and say, "Hi, I'm Asha. Is this your first time at one of these?" They nod. "Yeah, I'm still getting used to everything." You reply, "Same here." "Mind if I ask what department you're in?" They smile. "Marketing." You say, "I'm in design. Looks like we'll be working together." That's how real conversations begin. One brave question at a time. In every conversation, someone starts the talk. But it's what happens next, the response, that decides how deep it goes. Your response shows your heart. It shows your mood. It shows whether you're really present or just nodding. And in English, native speakers use short, powerful replies, not long essays, not perfect grammar, just real emotion in simple words. Let's start small. Someone says, "I just got promoted." Here are 3 natural ways to respond. "That's amazing." "Wow, congrats. You totally deserve it." "I'm really happy for you." Repeat after me. "That's amazing." "Wow, congrats. You totally deserve it." "I'm really happy for you." Say it with a smile. Now again, not loud, not flat, just real tone T. When native speakers say, "That's amazing," the word amazing often has a rising tone, light and full of warmth. You're not just saying words, you're celebrating with someone. Now let's look at how to respond. When someone shares something difficult, they say, "I've been feeling really tired lately." Instead of fixing it, just be present. Try. "I'm sorry to hear that." "That sounds tough. Anything I can do to help?" "I hope you get some time to rest soon." Say it with me. "I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds tough. I hope you get some time to rest soon." Say it gently. This is not just speaking, it's emotional support in English. Tone tip. Let your voice drop slightly at the end of phrases like, "That sounds tough." It shows sincerity. It shows you're not rushing away from their feeling. Let's try a real-life moment. Your friend says, "I failed my driving test." You take a breath and reply, "Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. Want to talk about it?" That line, "Want to talk about it?" is a quiet invitation. You're saying, "I'm here if you need me." That's native level emotional intelligence, and you can do that right now. Mindset boost. If you've ever stayed quiet in a conversation because you didn't know what to say, you're not alone. But silence doesn't build connection. Presence does. And these simple responses. "That makes sense? I hear you. You've got this." These are not just phrases, they're gifts, and you can give them even if your English is still growing. Let's explore responses that show understanding. Someone explains something, you can say, "Got it? I see." That makes sense? Practice with me. "Got it? I see." That makes sense. Say them with a nod. Let them sound calm, like you're truly listening. Tone tip. "Got it" is often said with a small head nod and soft final tone. Not "got it," like a soldier. Just "got it," like you're absorbing the message. Now let's build a quick work conversation. Your coworker says, "We need to submit the report by Friday." You reply, "Got it? I'll get started today." Clear, confident, no drama. Now let's explore agreement. Someone says, I think teamwork really makes a difference. You reply, exactly. I couldn't agree more. You're totally right. Say these slowly. Exactly. I couldn't agree more. You're totally right. These phrases sound strong, but kind. Tone tip. When someone says exactly, they often let the word stretch a little. It's like adding a little high five into the conversation without using your hands. Now, what if you don't agree? Disagreeing politely is a powerful skill. Here's how I see your point, but I see it a little differently. I get what you're saying, but I have a different take. I'm not so sure about that. Can I share my view? Repeat after me. I see your point, but I see it a little differently. I get what you're saying, but I have a different take. I'm not so sure. Can I share my view? Say it gently. You're not fighting. You're offering a different view with respect. Now, imagine this. Your friend says, we should skip the meeting tomorrow. You reply, I see your point, but I think it might still be important to attend, even briefly. You didn't just say no. You kept the flow respectful and clear. Let's shift now to everyday emotion. Someone says, I finally finished my big project. You can say, that must feel amazing. Relief, right? You did it. Well done. Practice these now. That must feel amazing. You did it. Well done. Let your energy rise a little. Celebrate with them, even in a few words. Now let's go deeper. 2 personal feedback moments. Someone says, I'm not sure I did a good job. You reply, actually, I thought it was really strong. You explained it clearly. I understood every part. I know it's hard to tell, but from the outside, it looked great. These replies build people up. They show attention, and that's what native speakers do with heart reflection question. Think about a recent time someone shared something with you. How did you respond? Was it quick or caring? What response from today's list would have made it better? Let's practice one more moment. You're on a video call. Someone finishes presenting their idea. You say, thanks for sharing. That was really interesting. I liked how clearly you explained it. Looking forward to hearing more from you next time. Repeat. Thanks for sharing. That was really interesting. Tone tip in English. Gratitude sounds best when it's sincere and calm. You don't need to perform. You just need to mean it. Let's close this section with a full mini scene. You're in a quiet room. A friend is venting. They say, I feel like no one really listens to me sometimes. You pause. You look them in the eye. You say, I'm listening now. And I hear you. That sounds really painful. Thank you for sharing it. You're not alone in this. That's fluency. Not in grammar, but in presence. That's what you're learning to do. Sentence by sentence, because your voice has power and how you respond is how you connect. Starting a conversation is like lighting a candle. It brings light, but it's just the beginning, keeping the conversation alive. That's the real art. That's the warmth, the rhythm, the human flow. And here's a secret. You don't need new ideas every second. You just need to stay present. The best conversations don't feel like interviews. They feel like walks, one step, then another. Let's start with one powerful phrase. Tell me more. Simple open, inviting. Repeat after me. Tell me more. Now again, slower, like you're really interested. Tone tip, let your voice soften near the end of more. Don't rush. Let the pause invite the other person to speak. Imagine this. Your friend says, I've started a new job. It's been a wild few weeks. You smile and say, really? Tell me more. Just like that, the conversation breathes. You didn't change the subject. You deepened it. Let's learn another phrase to keep the moment alive. What happened next? Say it with me. What happened next? This question makes people feel listened to, not interrupted. Now let's build a scene. You're talking to someone about their trip. They say, we got completely lost on the way to the waterfall. You laugh and ask, no way. What happened next? They smile. They continue. And now they're fully in the story. You gave them space. And that space builds trust. Mindset boost. If you've ever felt nervous in a conversation because you didn't know what to say next, remember this. You don't always need to say something new. Sometimes the kindest thing you can say is, go on. Really? Then what? These soft phrases are invisible bridges. They keep the connection strong. Now let's look at how to shift topics naturally. Try this. That reminds me. Say it with me. That reminds me. This phrase is your best friend when you want to move to something related without sounding random. Here's a real moment. You're talking about busy days. Your friend says, I didn't even have time for lunch today. You say, that reminds me, I've been skipping lunch lately too. Probably not good, right? Now you're both laughing. Now you're both relating. You shifted without dropping the flow. Let's add another smooth transition. By the way, practice it now. By the way, tone, tip, say. By the way, like a gentle hand gesture, soft, upward, welcoming. It means I'm moving us forward, but I'm still here with you. Now, try this full sentence. By the way, have you heard about the new cafe near here? Repeat it. By the way, have you heard about the new cafe near here? Say it like you're asking a friend, not giving a speech. Let's look at another great expression. That's interesting. Can you tell me more about that? Repeat after me. That's interesting. Can you tell me more about that? Say it warmly, slowly. No rush. Imagine. Someone says, I've been working on a personal project. You say, that's interesting. Can you tell me more about that? Suddenly, the moment goes deeper. It becomes personal. These are not magic words, but they feel magical because they create space for honesty. Now let's look at how native speakers use soft reactions to show engagement. Really? No way. You're kidding. Wow. That's wild. Repeat these casually with me. Really? No way. You're kidding. Wow. That's wild. Say them with emotion, not as grammar, but as feelings. Tone tip. When you say no way, let your tone rise like surprise, lifting your voice. That's how native speakers show genuine interest. Let's build another full conversation moment. You're at lunch with someone new. They say, I used to live in Brazil for 3 years. You say, really? That's so cool. What was that like? They reply, It changed the way I see the world. You lean in. Wow. That's powerful. Tell me more. This is how stories unfold. This is how people connect. Reflection question. Think about a recent conversation you had. Was there a moment when the other person went quiet? Could one of these phrases, like tell me more or, by the way, have kept the flow alive? Now here's a secret most learners miss. Silence doesn't mean you failed. It's just space. And sometimes your next phrase can guide it gently forward. Try this one. How did that make you feel? Say it softly. How did that make you feel? You don't need to be a therapist. You just need to care. That one phrase opens the heart. Let's try another set of flow keepers.
Yeah.
And then I'd love to hear more. What made you decide that? Is that something you still do? Repeat slowly with me. Yeah. And then I'd love to hear more. What made you decide that? Is that something you still do? Each one is a gentle invitation to go deeper. Let's close this section with a powerful scene. You're walking with someone after work. They say, I've been thinking about leaving my job. You pause. You say, wow, that's a big thought. What brought that on? They pause. Then they open up. You walk together. You talk. And the connection grows, not because you had all the answers, but because you made space. That's what fluency is. Not speed, not cleverness, just presence. Your voice, your energy, your questions, and your care. Let your English breathe. Let it move. Let it flow. Because when you do, people don't just hear you, they feel you. Every hello has a goodbye. Every chat ends. But how it ends can change everything. A conversation that ends gently leaves warmth behind. A goodbye said with kindness makes people want to speak with you again. And here's the truth. Ending a conversation isn't about being clever. It's about being human. Let's begin with a simple one. You've been talking to a colleague after a meeting. You smile and say, anyway, I'll let you. Get back to it. Thanks for the chat. Repeat after me. I'll let you get back to it. Thanks for the chat. Say it slowly, like you're closing a window, not slamming a door. Tone tip, end of conversation phrases usually soften near the end. Drop your tone gently. It says, this was nice. I'm not rushing away, just wrapping up. Now, here's a common one. I should get going. It works everywhere, at work, with friends, in messages. Practice it now. I should get going. Now make it warmer. I should get going, but it was really great talking to you. Say it again. I should get going, but it was really great talking to you. That small addition, but it was really great, adds kindness. It makes the other person feel valued. Let's build a soft real-life moment. You're in a cafe, chatting with someone you just met. You check the time and say, this has been really lovely. I should head out, but I've enjoyed this. They smile. Me too. Thanks for the conversation. That's fluency, not in words, in presence. Mindset boost. Ending a conversation isn't rejection. It's responsibility. It says, I respect your time. I value mine, but I still care. And when you close a conversation with warmth, it's like saying, this door isn't locked. it's just gently closing for now. Let's learn another kind phrase. Let's catch up again soon. Say it with me. Let's catch up again soon. Now again, slower with a soft smile. Tone tip, the word soon usually rises gently at the end. It creates a feeling of hope, not distance. Now try this friendly closing. Talk to you later. Say it now. Talk to you later. You can also say, take care. Have a good one. See you around. Repeat all of them. Take care. Have a good one. See you around. They're casual, kind, human. Now imagine this moment. You've been helping a classmate with homework. They say, thanks again. You really helped me understand it. You smile and say, anytime. I should go now, but good luck with the rest. You didn't just end the talk, you gave encouragement. 2. Let's try another moment. You're in a video call with a client. The meeting is done. You say, thanks again for your time today. I'll follow up by email. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Professional, warm, smooth. Say it with me. Thanks again for your time today. I'll follow up by email. Now, again, softer with calm energy. Let's try some deeper endings for emotional moments. Someone shares something hard with you. The conversation slows. You say, thanks for opening up. I really appreciated hearing that, or I'll leave you with that for now, but I'm always here if you want to talk again. These are gentle exits that protect connection. Now here's a very kind closing. It was really good to see you again. Repeat it. It was really good to see you again. Tone, tip, stretch the word really a little. Not dramatic, just honest. Now let's practice with another phrase. Thanks for making time. Say it gently. Thanks for making time. Follow it with, let's talk again soon, or hope the rest of your day goes well. Let's go into a final short scene. You're on a phone call with a family member. After some warm talk, you check the time and say, all right, I should get going, but I'm really glad we talked. They reply, me too. Love you. You say, love you too. Take care. This isn't grammar. This is life. And these are the words that make life feel better. Reflection question. How do you usually end your conversations? Do you disappear? Say nothing? Or do you leave a little kindness behind? What would it feel like to close each chat with care? Because fluency isn't just knowing what to say. It's knowing how to end well. To say, you mattered to me in this moment. Thank you. I'll see you again. That's how native speakers leave a room. That's how real connection stays alive. And that's what you're learning now. One phrase at a time. One goodbye at a time. One small piece of confidence at a time. You're still here. You made it to the end. And that tells me something very important about you. You're not just someone who wants to learn English. You're someone who wants to connect more deeply, more confidently, more kindly. Today, you didn't just hear 50 expressions. You walked through real-life conversations. You spoke with heart. You felt your voice. Let's look back for a moment. You learned how to start a conversation, not with fear, but with warmth. Hi! Is this your first time here? Nice to See you again. Your hellos became invitations. Then you learned how to ask questions kindly. Not just, where are you from? But mind if I ask, what brought you here today? Your curiosity became a bridge. Next, you practiced responding like a native. Not perfectly, but presently. That makes sense. I'm really happy for you. I hear you. Your replies became connection. Then you learned how to keep the conversation flowing. Not by saying something clever, but by staying open. Tell me more. That reminds me. By the way, your silence turned into space. Your space turned into stories. And finally, you learned how to end a conversation with kindness, not rushed, not robotic, just honest. Thanks for your time. Let's catch up again soon. I should get going, but I really enjoyed this. Your goodbye became a gift. Mindset boost. You don't have to memorize all 50 expressions today. Fluency is not about memory. It's about momentum. So here's your next small step challenge. Pick just 3 expressions from this episode. Write them down, say them out loud, then use them with someone you know, or a stranger, or in a message, or even in front of the mirror. And when that feels comfortable, come back. Pick 3 more. 1 small phrase at a time. 1 human moment at a time. You are becoming someone who can speak English and make people feel something when you do. That's real fluency. That's what you're building. So, as we close this episode, know this. You don't need to sound like a native speaker. You just need to sound like yourself. With calm, with kindness, with clarity. And you're already doing that. I'm proud of you. And I'm so glad we shared this time together. If this episode helped you, please share it with someone else who's learning. And don't forget to subscribe. We create spoken style lessons like this every week, just for you. Until next time, keep practicing, keep connecting, keep becoming. Your English journey isn't lonely. I'm walking with you. Take care and see you soon.